Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. This will hopefully be my last video with this hair. I'm planning on dyeing it tomorrow, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen, so hopefully. But today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite topics relating to K-pop, and that is dance practices. I spend so much of my time watching dance practices, it's not even funny. A large reason why I decided to follow or stan, whatever you want to call it, certain groups is if they have good dance practices. I decided to make a list of the groups that I consider to have kind of the most interesting dance practices, in my opinion. Just wanted to say before all the "you forgot this group" or the "what about this group" comments come in, I am fully aware that there are tons of awesome and talented groups in K-pop. Okay, this is nowhere near all of them at all, but this is not a definitive list, just the ones that I personally decided to choose, and I could make like 10 parts of this and still not include every group, so I have to draw the line somewhere. This is only 10. I did start a second list, so maybe I could do a part 2. We'll see how I feel about it. I don't know. Now, there were some groups that I didn't include, but I will talk about those at the end and explain why I didn't include them, just to be fair. Okay? So stay until the end if your fave group didn't make my list. These are not in order whatsoever. None of my stuff is ever in any kind of order because that's not how my brain works. I'm not that organized. The first group that came to mind when I started thinking about dance practices is Fix, and they're on somewhat of a hiatus as a group right now because members are starting to enlist in the army, and that's just what has to happen. But as far as their dance practices, they have many, and they are all so fun to watch. Notable ones that come to mind are Voodoo Doll, which is like the first dance practice that I ever watched from them, and it made me fall in love with them immediately. Shangri-La is a really good one. Error is like one of the best ones. I think it's Error. Ugh, I mix them all up in my head when I'm not watching them, but I believe it's Error. Just their dance practices are always so good. They occasionally will do what a lot of groups do and like have a theme to their dance practices. They had a special version where they were just all fucking with each other, like trying to mess each other up, and it was just so much fun to watch. I love that kind of stuff. And then they have their serious ones, or they have ones where they're in costumes. Like, I just love that so much. They always have something different about their dance practices, and that's why I appreciate them. So, if you've never watched a Vix dance practice, I recommend it 100%. The second group that came to mind when I thought of this topic was 17, and just honestly, I tried to make a list of the most notable ones, but all of their dance practices have something, again, special about them or just interesting about them. So honestly, you just pick one. Just pick one. They're all just really good. They're all good. The third group is NCT. Was that a shock? I don't think so, honestly. Let me just get off track a little bit here for a second. It's weird that NCT has so many dance practices because SM is not particularly known for being a company who prioritizes dance practices. EXO hasn't even had that many. SHINee hasn't had that many. SNSD hasn't had that many. Red Velvet hasn't had that many. Like, their groups just don't really do a lot of dance practices. But NCT seems to be releasing one in multiple versions sometimes for every comeback. And like, it just blows my mind, but I love it at the same time because they're always really good. My favorites, I don't even know, there's so many of them. Fire Truck, Boom is a really good one. Boss is a good one. Takeoff, which is wavy, but they're still NCT. Like, just, they're all so good. And the fourth group that came to mind when I was thinking about dance practices is actually GOT7. And though I don't particularly listen to them anymore, they came to mind because some of my favorite dance practices back in the day were from GOT7. Magnetic Girl, Just Right. There are a few, and I'm just incapable of thinking of them all, but trust me, GOT7 has really good dance practices. And again, they do something different with them. They have ones where they're acting goofy. They have ones where they're acting cute. It's always a fun time in a GOT7 dance practice. The fifth group is Pentagon. And again, I was gonna think of just like one or two to mention, but they're all so good. So many good ones, and they're always so well put together. I don't know how to explain it. Just the look of their dance practices is always really nice. Like, it's so aesthetically pleasing to look at. Pentagon. They are so underrated in so many ways, and one of those ways is their dance practices. The sixth group is probably not a shock to anybody, but I felt like I had to include them because they're like ruling K-pop, and to pretend they don't exist would just be foolish of me. BTS. Yes, BTS. I may be totally out of the loop with BTS recently, but I do know that back in the day, I was quite a fan of their dance practices. I Need You, that was a good one. I'm really only thinking of like their old school ones, like No More Dream and War of Hormones, Boy in Love. I don't know. I did like, was it Fire? I can't remember. They did one. Somebody had either a red hat or red hair, and it was just basically all black and white. Other than that, it was really nice to look at. Loved it, enjoyed it. Yeah, BTS. They're popular for a reason, you know. And their dance practices are just as amazing as they are as a group. Number 7? Am I on number 7? I don't know. SF9. And there's a huge debate whether or not I was going to put Monsta X or SF9 in this spot. And while Monsta X has a lot of really good dance practices, for some reason, I just felt like choosing SF9 instead. Maybe in the second part, if I make one, I'll put Monsta X in there. They do deserve at least a shout out. So this is me acknowledging that they have really awesome dance practices, but I feel like SF9 is another underrated group as far as their dance practices go. They have such unity and they flow so well, and their choreography to me just feels different than a lot of other groups, and I can't explain it, but their dance practices, you can tell that they've worked a long time on getting their dancing to where it is, and their like just performance aspect of as a group is just, it's like so spot on. I don't know how to explain it. I'm so tired. The last 3 are girl groups because I felt like it was unfair to do all boy groups, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not super familiar with girl groups, but these 3 girl groups that I'm going to talk about are some of the ones that I am most familiar with. Number 8 is Twice, and I feel like this one's really self-explanatory. Twice is, they're not known for having like the most complex choreographies or anything like that, but it's always really entertaining to watch them dance or just put on a show. I think their choreographies really reflect them well as a group. They're bubbly and fun, and they convey like an attitude, like an emotion through their dance practices that just makes you feel kind of happy. I don't know what it is. Number 9 is AOA, and I know that they're not like super active at the moment, and I don't even know what's going on with them to be honest, but in the past their dance practices were some of my favorite amongst girl groups because it was just like, they're also like adorable, and yet their choreographies somehow came off as extremely sexy and effortlessly sexy. As somebody who cannot pull off sexy to save my life, I think it's cool. Number 10 is CLC, and I haven't watched too many CLC dance practices. I have a handful that I have watched, and based on those, I found them really fun and entertaining to watch. And like, I felt like including them because they're another girl group, and I felt like there needed to be more representation. They're talented as fuck, so they deserve to be on the list. So that's it for this video. I know I probably was not as well spoken as I would like to have been, but again, I'm tired. I'm so tired, but I needed to make a video, and I just wanted to talk about dance practices because I randomly found one that I hadn't seen today by 17, and it just got me thinking like, holy shit, there's so many good dance practices, I want to talk about them. Like I said, there were a few groups that I did not include. They're groups that I don't know much about / have only seen like one dance practice for, so I can't speak about them in an in-depth way, but I'm going to give them a quick shout out here at the end. Maybe they'll be in the part 2 if anybody wants to see that. I don't know. So (G)I-DLE. Idol, I still don't know what to call them. I have seen a whole like 1 dance practice, maybe 2. I don't know that they even have that many. I think they only had like 3 songs. So I didn't feel like it was fair to include them with groups that have like 10 plus dance practices. They're extremely talented and their dance practices are on point. Dreamcatcher, another really talented girl group that I have seen 0 dance practices for. I'm sorry, but I've seen like snippets from dance practices, and I have no question in my mind that they have good dance practices or that they are incredibly synchronized because I've seen their music videos. Okay, I know that they are amazing. I'm just not familiar with them. Another group I really wanted to include, but again, they've only had like 4 dance practices maybe, was ATEEZ. I talk about ATEEZ way too much on this channel, so I feel like it's a good thing I didn't get to include them. But they're talented, they're awesome, they're getting so much recognition, and it makes me super happy. But people need to watch their dance practices. Another girl group that I have watched 1 or 2 dance practices for, but I don't know how many they actually have, is Momoland. They do got some interesting dance practices, and they're fun to watch because of the vibe that the group has in general. They're like Twice. They have this like upbeat vibe to them, and it's a good time. There were 4 groups that I could have included in this video that I had to unfortunately decide not to because it was supposed to only be 10, and I wanted to keep things fair and have some girl groups in there. Astro, Winner, Stray Kids, and Monsta X, like I said. All really good dance practices. If you want to check them out, I highly recommend it. They're going to blow your mind. Especially Stray Kids. Like, they're super in sync. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it, honestly. Astros are always so much fun to watch. They're so talented. I just wanted to give a special shout out to EXO's dance practice for The Eve, because like that's definitely in like my top 5 dance practices ever. Also their dance practice for Electric Kiss. It's like, yes. So that's it for this video. I hope there's nothing I forgot to say. That always happens. If there's anything you'd like me to make a video about, please leave me a comment and I will do my best to make it happen. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.